Last spring, Pope Francis issued an encyclical which urged swift and unified global action to reverse environmental damage and global warming. In response, an interfaith forum on climate justice will be held tomorrow night in downtown San Diego. Here with the details are Father Emmet Farrell, who helped organize the forum, and Georgette Gomez with the Environmental Health Coalition. And Father Farrell, what makes climate change a moral or religious issue?
I think because it has to do with a change of attitudes. And the Pope is calling for us to change our lifestyles because it affects so many people. And so we have to start a dialogue, and he wants everyone on the planet to be part of the dialogue. He's very inclusive of everyone being part of that. And it has to do with all forms of creation, not just human, but plants and animals and the inanimate resources of nature. But basically because we're looking for a change of attitude which will change then our lifestyles or our way of acting. No? And he says there will be no ecological reform unless there is first an anthropological reform.
And let's talk about that a little more, because he said this is more than just lowering greenhouse gas emissions. He's taking this broader perspective, as you say, and he's asking for climate justice, which is the actually the inspiration for this interfaith forum here in San Diego tomorrow night. What is climate justice?
Well, he says very early on in his encyclical that we don't have a number of different crises. It's one crisis, and that includes economic, political, social, spiritual, and yes, environmental. It's all one crisis because it's all one humanity, it's all one planet. And so what happens in one of those areas affects all the others, no?
Sure, and sort of this rounded way. Let me ask you this, Georgette. So this is a big message. This is a hard-hitting message that it's everybody's responsibility, and let's do something about that. What kind of impact does the Pope's message and other interfaith leaders' message have in San Diego communities?
Well, a great question. Environmental Health Coalition has been working on environmental justice issues for over 35 years already, and really our focus has been in low-income communities because we know that residents in these communities are going to get impacted the most. We already have evidence of that. Residents that live in these communities in San Diego have 3 times higher emergency visits due to asthma, and that is related to our air quality. So this is what we mean by climate justice. This is what we mean of what it means in San Diego if we don't do anything
justice
about
for everyone who's most affected by this, as you said. But what are, you mentioned air pollution. What are some of the key climate concerns right here in San Diego?
Well, we live by the ocean. So there will be a high rise and related to our ocean. And we have a lot of communities that are sited near the ocean. So the residents that are by our water are going to get impacted as well. We also have we have a drought. San Diego doesn't create a lot of water, so we have already experiencing, not anymore, but there's a drought possibility. And then we have air emissions. If we don't do anything about reducing our vehicle miles, we're going to have more air contamination, and we can't do we can't reduce our air quality, we can't reduce our impacts, but we have to be willing to do it.
Well, let me move on to you, Father Farrell. What would you like to see come from tomorrow's Interfaith Forum on Climate Justice? What would you like people to take away from that?
That we need a new dialogue, and that we all need to participate in it, because in order to change attitudes and therefore lifestyles, and therefore to preserve our planet and for future generations, and especially for the poorest part of our planet, we need to change the way we think. That's a big order. If you're thinking of the whole world, we have a hard time agreeing on most anything. So what we need to do is get everyone at the table, everyone involved, and let them speak. Let them start to create this new awareness, because there needs to be a lot of pressure in order to bring about systemic or structural changes that the Pope is talking about.
Right, and that's something that's going to be discussed at the Interfaith Forum. Father Emmet Farrell and Georgette Gomez, thank you so much.